A question that comes up, or that I see a lot, is how to deal with hateful people. Metta doesn't seem to work.
Yeah. Well, as we said in other talks, the first thing you have to do when you're experiencing hate towards somebody, somebody might be hateful to you, but you are experiencing aversion towards that experience. You don't want people to be hateful, because then you end up being averse and hateful. Or same if you're experiencing lust and greed, the first thing you have to do is not act out of it. So if somebody is hateful towards you, you should not be hateful towards them by body, by speech. Mentally, you might not be able to help yourself to have bad thoughts and so on, but only after you have been accomplished sufficiently enough in non-acting out of hate, regardless of what hate comes your way, not speaking out of hate, regardless of what hate comes your way, then you will be able to do something about on the level of your mind. So the reason why Metta doesn't work is because, well, it doesn't work on that level. People would think, oh, I'm experiencing hate, I'm full of aversion, let me do Metta, but they do it so to get rid of the aversion, to get rid of the experience that's unpleasant. So all they want to do Metta for is because it's unpleasant otherwise. And acting out of displeasure, that's why you're still averse. Because you keep acting when you keep trying to get rid of the displeasure because you're averse to it. That's why you perpetuate your attitude of aversion. So that's why the Buddha would often say the words, abuse of others, insults and so on needs to be endured like you would endure heat, cold, bad weather and so on, wind. You don't, like when it's cold, you don't get angry with the winter. You just bear the discomfort. Sure, you get warmer, but you're not full of aversion. Oh, I hate this discomfort, because you can't really. You can try, but it's futile because you can't do much about it. So you just try to avoid cold. Yeah, try and avoid hateful people, but don't try to get rid of the discomfort. In the sense of, I'm averse to this, so I'll do everything in my power to not experience this. No, when it arises, you have to endure it. So what would be the endurance in terms of somebody being hateful to you? Well, non-acting back, that's the endurance part.
And that's the Metta part there.
Well, that's the prerequisite for Metta.
Yeah.
If you have sufficiently not acted out of your aversion, out of your lust towards the world, if you have sufficiently withdrawn yourself away from the world through that, through avoiding that unwholesome basis for your action, then you're left with just recognition of your own aversion in regard to this body experiencing heat, cold, bad weather, abuse of others. Others are irrelevant. What's relevant is that you don't want to bear it here. Because a number of times, like you can even see that even without Metta, when you were in a good mood and somebody hateful, but the hate doesn't reach you, because you remain imperturbed, you don't move. So it's like, so really that's the root of the problem. I can't stop the world from being hateful if they want. It's just, how can you control that? But you can certainly stop yourself from being affected by that. But the first thing to do is stop acting out of it. Stop, doing stuff in return, including I must do Metta, because I can't bear this. No, first you have to bear it. And that's what means being accomplished in virtue and restraint. Means knowing that you can bear it even if you don't do anything about it, even if you can't do anything about it. You know for sure, well, at least I know I can bear it because I bared it. And then the mind will start to calm down, and then the things become clearer in a sense of, I'm not actually averse towards you. I'm averse towards this body experiencing discomfort of elements and hateful speech from external sort of points of view. So that's where the Metta begins. Self-aversion. Aversion towards the senses, towards non-control, towards discomfort that comes through them. And mind of friendliness, as we spoke before. So then even if you're absolutely violently hateful, I'm not abandoning that gateway where the problem would arise for me. from that hate. My problem is not that you're hateful. My problem is if I try to get rid of this body experience in that hate. But the only reason I would be trying to get rid of that is if I'm still cultivating aversion towards it. But now I'm cultivating the mind of friendliness and benevolence, regardless of what comes this way. So I cannot be averse. So no matter how much you shout and you're abusive, the body remains, I remain unaverse towards my own senses, towards my own body, that are experiencing all of that hate and elements and so on.
Yeah. And that's the root that you deal with.
That's the framework, exactly. You maintain, you protect your mind like a mother protects her only child, as Metta Sutta says. You protect your mind on that level, like your precious child. Protect the mind of friendliness just there. Nothing else will be a problem. Doesn't matter how hateful and intense things around get. Mind of friendliness first. And that is truly unlimited state. It would be boundless because it's not bound anymore with perceptions of self or others for that matter. So imagine, and then you develop confidence on the point of highway robbers, as the suttas say, can come and start violently attacking you with machetes, and your mind of friendliness will still not change. And you know that. This is fearlessness as well. Doesn't matter what happens. Mind of friendliness cannot be affected. And that's why it's a Brahma Vihara. The Buddha said, somebody cultivates their mind on that level, rebirth in Brahma realm is guaranteed. Because it's just so elevated, so boundless, immeasurable.
Elevated beyond or above the world.
Well,
internal, external.
Above the gratuitous diversification of me, you, mine, all that's been perpetuated, not because of some intellectual error or lack of information, but because of acting out of senses that pressure you, pleasing sight, sound, smell, taste, touches assail you, you go towards them, displeasing smell, sight, sound, taste, touches assail you, you try to get rid of them, you do metta, you do meditation, but all for the sake of acting out of senses. Not developed in regard to your own body. That's why you act, because you try to get rid of it. So, patient endurance, as we say so often, accomplished in virtue, sense restraint, needs whatever practice of meditation you do or contemplation, this is a non-negotiable basis. Accomplished in virtue, having, like as I said, you develop a knowledge that I can endure, even if I can't do anything about it, even if I don't know the way out, I can't figure it out, things are all clouded, I don't understand anything, but it used to be. So it doesn't matter how much doubt you know, but I can endure, because I endured it, and I still am enduring it. And that's accomplished in virtue. And then, when thing passes, which you will have to, you realize even in that instance, I didn't act. So even more confidence on account of your virtue grows, even more gladness then comes, because now you know that even harder circumstances, you still did not act out of that pressure. So that's why sila first. Samadhi comes out of it. Immovability of your mind will come out of the confidence of sila. That's exactly what the Buddha describes. It's so many ways, so many times.
But then realizing that there is no boundary then.
Well, sure. But I don't want to get into describing what's after.
No.
It will become self-evident what's after if you become accomplished in virtue and stop acting out of aversion, out of agreeable and disagreeable. That's it. Cultivate. Don't think that cultivation of that endurance, accomplishment in virtue is somehow irrelevant. That is the practice. Samadhi is within that and Panya is within that, not after that. So if you're accomplished in virtue, you already have a basis that contains Samadhi and Panya. So you never abandon that. I will not act out of the pressure of the senses. Even if I can't figure it out, I will not act. I will sustain it. And that will accomplish you. And that's it.